Good afternoon, everyone. It's October 18th, 2019. America. Is America ripe for a communist revolution? This particular piece comes from Annie. Arrow key's not working. All right. And I have a few more that kind of tie in, if you will, with this piece. And, you're going to see something very disturbing, I think. All right, so positive views of socialism are growing. 42% of America's hold a positive view of the ideology. In a recent Pew Research report, a Gallup poll placed socialism's favorability at 36% only a decade ago. So what's up with the growing numbers? Well, check out what Personal Explanations said. Why do you have a positive view of socialism? In quotes coming from a man of 22 years old, socialism is all about giving the worker a voice, and that is where I think the middle class is the best way to reverse that. And he's right about that. He's right about boosting the middle class as being the key to reversing income inequality. But socialism is no way to get there. Socialism is the state owning the businesses. At least full-blown socialism. And healthcare and so on and so forth. In quotes again from a woman who is 42. I believe a healthy society has a good blend of capitalism and socialism. We have socialized education and libraries. And the only one that really worked out there are the libraries. I mean, if you look at the education system here in the United States, it is pretty bad. I mean, a lot of people make it out of high school without being able to read, which I don't understand how that happens, but that's what happens when you socialize things. Look at the socialized healthcare over in England and up in Canada and all those other places. It sucks. Okay. This comes from a man 35. It says, capitalism tends to lead to the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And this is ultimately self-destructive and unsustainable. Socialism is not without its flaws, but at least its stated goal is to provide for everyone who contributes. See, right there. Everyone who contributes. That's not socialism, really, if they're contributing. But I digress. Here's the deal with this statement right here. Capitalism tends to lead to the rich getting richer. And it's true of a crony capitalist system like the one we have. But a true free market and does not favor one corporation over another. The people decide through their purchases who makes it and who doesn't. In our case, if a business is big enough, like Ford or GM, although Ford did not take the bailout money, but GM and the others did, they got bailed out, and so the government ultimately chose who got to stay in business. Even though they should have collapsed. In quotes again, woman 63, I believe our society is better off in the long run if we use our resources to strengthen our social networks. If people are secure when it comes to income, housing, healthcare, employment, food, transportation, and education, they will be less stressed and can then contribute in a much more positive manner towards a greater society. And I really don't see how socialism would solve that. I'm just saying. Just look at all the other countries that are socialist. People are still not secure in any of these things, income, housing, or any of it, right? In these socialist countries. Okay, man 47. I grew up in a democratic socialist country and saw how quality of life is enhanced through government providing essential services, and again, it's not the government providing these services, it's you, the taxpayer, providing these services. It is government being the sort of middleman between the people and these services. Without a government, there would be no middleman, and these services would be a lot cheaper. So I just wanted to point this out to you here. So, as it said, 42% of Americans hold a positive view of this ideology. And so does let's see here. So does Antifa. And this one's from Tony Elliott. Time for patriots to declare war on Antifa, whatever the word patriot means. Oh, see. He wants the president to take action on Antifa. But let's see what... And that is authoritarian in itself. All right. This individual says the time for President Trump to take action on Antifa and labeling the organization an international terrorist organization is long overdue. It is an international terrorist group, since it also operates in many European countries as well as the United States, or United Kingdom rather, aside from the U.S. Antifa is only part of a much larger spiderweb of anti-American terrorist groups, all founded and organized by Barack H. Obama. Okay, let me stop right there. I have not seen any proof that Obama himself founded Antifa. You do recall, though, he did found that paramilitary group with the brown, all the kids dressed in brown uniforms. My old channel is banned, as most of you well know, so that video got deleted, but I did a video on that. But this person is grasping at straws if he or she, I think it was he, believes Barack Obama founded all those organizations. He's a blind, extreme right-winger who wants to blindly blame everything on the left, it looks like. They go on to say, Antifa, along with Black Lives Matter, MoveOn.org, the ACLU, and Planned Parenthood, just to name a few, are all part of this massive Obama organized and managed sphere of influence, all of which are financed by George Soros. As I recall, at least MoveOn.org and ACLU and Planned Parenthood were around a lot long before Barack Obama had anything to do with being the president. And Antifa was formed, what, 2 years before Barack Obama changed from Barack Obama to Trump, something like that, maybe 3, but not that. It hasn't been around that long. So, and MoveOn.org is a George Soros organization. So, again, this person is grasping at straws. Black Lives Matter, yeah, I guess it's possible, but I don't really think it's probable that Barack Obama directly organized these groups. He may contribute to them, he may support them, but finding them, that's a whole different matter. These groups are designed to totally transform the U.S. from a constitutional, independent, sovereign nation into a Nazi-inspired NWO socialist province who would be governed by the United Nations. And of course, he's failing to mention that a lot of neocons have this ideology too. They also want this Nazi-inspired, not NWO, but OWO socialist province, and we would be governed by the United Nations, at least for a little while, until the actual one world government was formed. So this guy clearly has not done his homework. Am I saying Barack Obama's a good guy? Absolutely not. You know how I feel about politicians. Barack Obama is not a good guy by any stretch of the imagination. However, he is not to blame for everything that is wrong with this country. Remember, it took quite a long time for us to get here to this point, which would anyone with any sense of logic would come to the conclusion that if it took that long, then probably it took many, many people over the course of generations working together to make it happen. So Barack Obama is but a small sliver in the overall effort to transform the United States into this hellhole that it's becoming. Rockefellers financed groups, to make this happen. It's been going on for some time, and this guy is placing the sole blame on recent people like Barack Obama. He goes on to say that it's been over a decade since a real protest has taken place in the United States. Since Obama took office, every Fox or fake protest has been orchestrated, carried out, and financed by Obama and Soros. Maybe it may have been financed by Obama and Soros, but more likely Soros. And he goes on to say that today every so-called protest is not really a protest. Okay, well, he's right about that too. The people over in Spain, they have the right idea. The people in Hong Kong, they have the right idea, except they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're not doing it for actual freedom. They're doing it for democracy. All right, let me move on from this, because the answer to this question here, or I'm sorry, or what? Yeah, to this question here is America ripe for a communist revolution? Is yes. It is. It is ripe for one. Socialism, communism, they're the same thing. They're just different wings of the same ideology. So, and you know what socialism brings? Shit like this. U.S. improvised explosive device found at Montana primary school. And this comes from Al Jazeera. An improvised explosive device was found in the playground of an elementary school in Montana in the United States, authorities said. No one was injured following the device's discovery on Tuesday at Rossentier Elementary School in the state's capital, Helena, which has a population of about 30,000. The device, which was found in the playground of the school located in a residential neighborhood just north of the city's center, has already exploded before students or faculty arrived at school, authorities said. So, I mean, it could have been just some kids fucking around with a little something they built. You know how you used to do when you were a kid. You try to make things that exploded. I did. And this could be the same thing. It doesn't mean that, that there's a terrorist lurking out there in fucking Montana. They go on to say that there's a lot of unanswered questions, and we're going through it methodically and slowly so we don't miss something. And that's a flat out lie. A lot of these guys are paid by the hour. And what I mean by that is a lot of people who get paid by the hour really aren't all that motivated. Yeah, so improvised explosive device found at a Montana primary school, but when you have a socialist country, you can expect more and more violence to occur, especially government to citizen violence. I mean, you want to have... Everyone's afraid. Mexican cops forced to surrender El Chapo's son after brutal cartel battle. If you want to have actual power in your life, if you really want power, the power to, say, rescue your son from the authorities, you should probably consider this guy here, El Chapo. I'm not saying he's a good guy by, again, any stretch of the imagination. However, it seems that this man has enough power to have his son rescued from state custody. And I say rescued because, well, nothing good ever happens to you while you're in state custody. But I wanted to point that out to you. You should have that kind of power. That's the kind of power you want. The son is wanted in the U.S. for drug trafficking, suspected of involvement in his father's criminal organization, which, you know, the biggest drug traffickers in the country is the Navy, CIA, and other organizations. I'm sure El Chapo gets his fair share of the loot over here, but there's still bigger drug dealers than him on this in this country. El Chapo. All right. Outraged Swedish citizens report Greta Thunberg's parents to child services for abuse. I think people are getting pretty sick of hearing about how people are all bad and we should all, you know, not eat meat and only eat plants and freeze our asses off in the winter and be hot as fuck during the summer, and to save the planet. I think people are pretty sick of hearing about this shit, and this comes from Ethan Huff, and it's on DC Clothesline, by the way. I mean, first of all, I'm not gonna sit here and mock this girl, but she does have a couple of mental disorders that maybe should make you think twice about taking her seriously. But according to a report, Greta's parents are the subject of a new inquiry into their fitness as parents, as it would seem that they've been abusing their daughter for political and financial gain. According to reports, Greta's parents... Oh, well, I already read that. A report was recently filed in Kungsholmen district of Stockholm. I probably did not pronounce that right. Claiming that Greta's parents are exploiting her in order to push the climate change agenda, which is causing young Greta to suffer serious mental anguish and emotional distress. So, people are getting tired of hearing about the shit, and they want to shut it down any way possible. Although I would say that in America here, CPS is probably not the way to go, because after all, they are one of the #1 traffickers of missing children. Moving on. And while there is a good possibility for a communist revolution, there is still an opposite side to that, and a neutral side. So, they're going to have a hard time. But this one is from Tony Elliott. And they said, time for Patriots to declare war on Antifa terrorists. Did I already cover? Yes, I did. This is the one where he blamed everything on Barack Obama. One more here. And this is how sick and tired we are of hearing about this shit. Angry Londoners drag climate change protesters from roof of train. And you know, it's going to get that way with the Antifa protesters and the BLM protesters. When they disrupt traffic, people are going to start getting out of their cars and manhandling them. But angry Londoners, furious at having their lives disrupted, dragged Extinction Rebellion climate change protesters from the roof of a train this morning. That's a good thing, I think. The incident happened at Canning Town Tube Station, located in London's Port East End, a particularly stupid venue for Extinction Rebellion activists to try to pull such a stunt. And yes, it is, because poor people just want to get to their fucking jobs, make their money, and get back to their fucking homes. But people are tired of hearing about it. White people are getting tired of being discriminated against. And it is the socialist, leftist types who are the main ones pushing for said discrimination across the board. While there may be, while maybe conditions are right for a communist revolution, the conditions are also right for that shit to be shut down very, very quickly. And they would need a lot of help. Say, a lot of United Nations help, for example. You know, with their Strong Cities initiative and troops spread out all over our country, and many, many, many thousands of weapons and delivery vehicles all across the United States. That kind of help. Anyway, thought I would talk to you all about these things because they're right. It is right for a communist revolution. But uh, there would be substantial resistance to this. Substantial. And they would be defeated. Maybe not quickly, but they would be defeated. So go ahead and try this communist socialist bullshit, because we will shut that shit down. And until next time, kill the state, live free.